Hello and welcome to Willits Community Theater. I'm Kelly Kesey.
I'm Grainger, and we are excited to tell you about a new online streaming program coming to you from Willits Community Theater.
Since our theater went dark back in mid-March, our team has been looking for content and dreaming up ways to share it with you. We've been searching our archives for some of our favorite shows, and from now through December, we will be streaming shows online so you can watch them in the comfort and safety of your own.
Several of the shows will be streaming showcase some of our local playwrights like Don Sampson and Damian Sabuyan. We are really proud to have such amazing local talent, and it's an honor to be able to display their work.
We'll kick off the streaming program with The Angel of Chatham Square by Healdsburg playwright Audie Foote. This is a heartwarming story, mostly true, about his mother, a courageous and compassionate woman, and it's one of my favorite stories of all time.
And we'll be streaming some of those great monologues from past seasons to keep that tradition alive that Annie and Don Sampson started back in 2014.
We'll also be bringing you some newly produced shows this summer, such as a live recording of the classic play Love Letters by A.R. Gurney. And in October, Steve Marston's going to be directing a drama called Gideon's Knot by Johanna Adams.
You know, all this sheltering in place and businesses going dark, it's been hard, and a lot of people have been hurt, not just by the virus, but by the social and economic impacts. And yet, in the midst of all of that, some people have found the silver linings and have some wonderful stories to share.
That's why I'll be directing and producing a show containing a collection of original stories from our community about the unexpected benefits of sheltering in place. We're calling it Silver Linings. I would love for your story to be included. Examples of such stories include reconnecting with your family,
or learning to bake and contributing to the flour shortage at the grocery store.
Thank you very much. If you have anything good that's come into your life from having to shelter in place, please contact me so that we can set up a time to record your story. I'll be giving you our theater's email address at the end of this announcement, so get your pen and paper ready.
We believe that theater plays a very important role in our community. Not only is it a place where people can express themselves and entertain us through their variety of talents, but the time we spend together, the experiences that we share, they knit us together and teach us a bit more about what it means to be human.
That's why it's so important that we all stand together and keep ourselves and our theater going strong.
Throughout this series, we're going to be giving you opportunities to stand with us and show your support through donations. So many of you have been there and been such steadfast supporters of the theater through the years, and there are really not words to express our thanks. Every donation helps, no matter what the size. And now, just as we do before every show, we want to thank our underwriters. I like to think of these organizations as our partners who stand with us season after season, year after year. Les Schwab Tire of Willits has been standing with us since 2006.
And we're so thankful to our newest underwriter, NC Financial Services, who's been underwriting the theater since 2017. Kudos to both of these great companies.
And a most heartfelt thank you to our individual donors, 98 of you at the last count. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime. Let's keep Willits Community Theater and keep it going strong by watching and donating as you can.
And don't forget to click the subscribe button on the screen to be notified of new content when it arrives. And again, if you'd like to contact me about your shelter-in-place story, please write to the email wctperformingartscenter@gmail.com.
And now, sit back in that cozy, well-worn couch and enjoy the show.
That was really good. Man, thank you all for coming. I have been at this theater for 20 years. We've sold out 3 nights in a row, and that has never happened before since I've been here. So this is, wow. I don't even know what to say. It's just so incredible. Thank you. It's a great show. You're going to love it, and you're going to be glad that you did get in here today. This is an excellent show. We had the director, the author and the director of the first show here on Friday night. They loved it. So, and it's going to be again in Santa Rosa in I think March at the Wells Fargo Theater. So if you can't get enough of it, I know I'm going to go see it again. I saw it in Hillsburg and we're doing it here, and I'm going to go see it again. It's just a really great show. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Les Strauss and Willett's Furniture Bodega, La Bodega, without whom this would still be a Volkswagen garage. We really want to thank them. We need their help because you can't do this without somebody helping us. We'd also like to thank our customers, LaParche, who unfortunately got accidentally left out of the program. She did her costumes. That's why people are wearing clothes, okay? And we need that because a couple of these scenes take place in the winter, and we got to have clothes on them. So we need to thank her. Upcoming shows on December 6th, Bruce Burton and his friends are doing music, and you can buy tickets for that at Good Stamp Shop. On December 7th, there's going to be a magic show. So if you've got any friends you don't like, tell them to come and pay the magician, and he'll make them go away. So can't beat a deal like that. Our next show starts January 30th. It's Arsenic and Old Lace, which I'm sure most of you probably heard of before. It's an excellent movie. We're going to have a really good cast, and I think you're going to like that one too. So please come and tell all your friends what a great theater this is. And we'll sell that one out too. That would be terrific. Ukiah currently is doing Willy Wonka. So they're another, I think, 2 weeks, I think. So if you get a chance to go down and see that, it's always good to see theater wherever you can see it. So they did a good job, I understand. Personally, I would like to, like I said, I think this is the best show I've worked with here. This is one of the best casts I've ever worked with. I think you're going to enjoy every single performance on there. So my personal thanks to them and to you for coming to see it, because I have totally enjoyed this show, the whole thing. Please notice that as you're going out, the pictures in the lobby, there's one by the door and there's one between the bathrooms. The large lady picture in there is the person about whom this play is written. It's Kitty Fleming. That's the real person. This is a real play about a real person. She did see the very first production of it, not here, but when it was done, and she loved it, so she has approved the show too. Now, please turn your cell phones off. There were no cell phones in this period in history, so we don't want them ringing accidentally. I remembered it. Wait a minute. I think I did. Yes, I did. Okay. So, having said that, you're magically transported from Willits in 2014 and shortly back in New York City in the 1940s. So please enjoy the show. Thank you.
Damn, it's cold.
Yeah, who said the dead can't feel pain? I'm freezing my bum off. So, Davis, tell me again why you dragged me down here.
Well, I can't rightly say, Jolson. I just had the strangest feeling we should both be here. You know, this is where they found me, right here, Chatham Square. Right there on that bench, frozen stiff. Dead as a doorknob.
I remember.
You remember that? I thought you died before me.
Nah, I made it till the next summer.
No kidding. How'd you go?
Well, to the best of my recollection, I fell asleep under the Manhattan Bridge, passed out. You know, over by the East River, where, what's his name, Sammy Beggs used to sleep all the time.
Oh, yeah, I remember him. He was a big guy. He used to talk funny. Wore a stupid hat all the time. Ha! Like yours.
Yeah, that's him. So I was hanging somewhere near him one night, and like I said, probably passed out. And some damn kids found me. You know what those little bastards did?
What?
There were about 8 of them, and they lifted me up over the railing and threw me in the damn East River.
No.
Yeah, can you imagine that? Little sons of bitches just ran away laughing. I never even woke up. Just drowned like a rat in the disgusting, filthy East River. You know, there are high concentrations of pollutants in that water. Mercury and all kinds of crap. Raw sewage.
That can't be good for you.
Hell no. You can get lead poisoning in the East River, or worse, brain damage. Little bastards committed murder and nobody even cared. The police fished me out 5 days later, and not a pretty sight, I'll tell you. First they thought it was a mob hit or something. And they created a real story. A guy from the Daily Mirror even took pictures of me. But instead of finding the bullet holes in my coat, they saw the holes in my shoes and figured out I was just a vagrant. So they lost interest, and off to Potter's Field I went. But I was big news for about 2 hours, I shit you not.
Yeah, Potter's Field. Me too. That's where they took me. Potter's Field on Hart's Island. You know there's almost 1 million of us buried there?
Us?
Yeah, you know, us. Bums.
I prefer the term hobo, if you don't mind.
Well, yeah, them too. Also transient, vagrant, landloper, turnpiker. We're all pushing up daisies on Potter's Field, except there ain't no daisies.
Yeah, stumble bum, vagabonds.
Or just folks who flat out quit, worn out, discarded human beings. Anyone, in fact, who's deemed to be unbefriended. That's who's buried there. You know, that's the official New York term for it. You can look it up. Unbefriended.
Wait a minute, I had friends.
Any of them friends that claim your body at the morgue within a week?
No.
Well then, they were officially classified in New York City as unbefriended, and therefore entitled to free burial on Hart's Island, courtesy of the taxpayers of the Big Apple.
Unbefriended? Where'd they come up with that?
Civil War. They started burying the unknown soldiers there, Union soldiers, of course, during the war. And then when the war ended and they ran out of bodies, somebody figured out it'd be a good place to bury all the unknowns. So they dug up the soldiers and moved them. And they've been burying us bums there ever since. And get this, you know who buried us? Every day they bring convicts over from Rikers Island prison to do the dirty work. They dig these big, long trenches, 30 bodies go in each trench, all unmarked, of course. Well, they put a little ID pin on somebody's chest and on every grave, but let's see, I'm number 473-58201. Sounds like a damn phone number, don't it? Except I don't get no calls. Do you?
No, I don't.
Any of your so-called friends come visiting, bringing flowers?
Well, no. Hey, how do you know all this?
What, you mean about Potter's Field, Hart's Island? Willie told me.
Willie?
Yeah.
Willie. Did I know him?
Oh, yeah, sure, you knew him. Everyone on the Bowery knew Willie. He was a smart guy. I never did figure out what it was made him give up and come down here to live. Talk about just up and quitting. That guy just came down here to die. He didn't even drink. Rumor had it he was important, too. Rich, maybe famous. But then, like what happened with all of us, something bad happened in his life and he just gave up. Showed up down here. Took a ticket and waited his turn to die. Here, in the elephant's graveyard of the sorrowful and unbefriended. New York, New York. City so nice, they named it twice.
Oh, yeah, Willie. Nice looking fellow for a bum. Say, wasn't he the guy with the waitress and the cigarettes and the lobster tails?
Yeah. Miss Kitty. Wow, what a dame. I remember her well. Yes, right over there. Right over bus stop just off Chatham Square. What a story.
How'd that all happen anyway? How did he meet her?
Well, let's see. What year is it now? 2011. That means it was 63 years ago. 1948. Freezing cold night just like this.
63 years. Geez, we've been dead a long time.
Yeah, we have. I remember it was just after the war. I had just come back from France with a Purple Heart and 7 pieces of shrapnel in my house. Not to mention the 5 Ds.
The 5 Ds?
Yeah, dishonorable discharge due to drunk and disorderly. I punched an army lieutenant. He went flying down a flight of steps and fractured his skull. I lost everything. They wouldn't even let me in the door of the VA hospital. Went off to fight Hitler, and I was a war hero, and I come back an alcoholic in the damn brig. Next thing I know, I was sleeping right there on that bench. No one gave a shit about me, and that included me. Then I met Willie, and he kind of saved my life, for a while anyway.
So how did Willie meet Miss Kitty? I can't remember.
Well, like I said, it was bitter cold. Willie was trying to stay out of the wind up there in that alley over there, you know, where the steam comes up by the manhole. Along about 1 o'clock, 2nd Avenue bus pulls up right over there at that bus stop and lets off a passenger. Turns out to be Miss Kitty, who then has to take the Madison Street bus the rest of the way home. Problem being, at that hour, that Madison Street bus only runs about once an hour. So she had to stand right here, alone, and wait.
What, in this neighborhood? By herself? At night?
That's right. You know there's only 2 kind of people around at that hour. Bums, bad guys. As fate would have it, she met both.
What the hell was she doing down here?
Well, she just got a new job at some high-class seafood joint uptown, which replaced some old job she had at some West Side diner where she wasn't making very much money. But uptown, she could make some real coin. But the problem being, she didn't get off till after midnight, 6 nights a week. Bad news is, she had to transfer buses right here. And that Madison Street bus would come along in 5 minutes or an hour. One could never tell.
Oh my God. This is bad. I'm freezing to death and someone's gonna kill me and take all my tip money. Oh, please, bus, come.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Ah, get away from me! What do you want?
I'm sorry, lady. Didn't mean to scare you. I just wanted to ask if you could spare a cigarette.
Just get away from me. Leave me alone, you bum.
Okay, I'm sorry. Just wanted a cigarette. No call to insult me.
Here's a cigarette. Just stay away from me, you.
I apologize for scaring you, ma'am. I didn't mean to. I would never hurt you or anybody. I'm sorry.
Oh my God. He scared the crap out of me. Where's that damn bus? Oh, I've never been so cold in all my life.
What you doing out here, lady?
What do you
What's
want?
got him first?
Get away from me! Leave me alone! Ah!
First I want all your money. Then we're gonna go to that building over there, see what you got under the coat. Maybe have some fun.
Leave me alone. I have a gun.
Yeah, sure you do. I have this.
Don't hurt me. Just take the gun.
All right, both of you. Give me all your money or I'll shoot you both. Shit. Yeah, sure. Another one with a gun. Well, I started first, so get lost, Mark. I'm warning you. I'll shoot.
Okay, both of you. Hands up.
Holy crap! What's going on here? I'm supposed to be robbing you. See what you did? Now she's robbing us. Well, it looks like we've got us a real Mexican standoff here.
I'm not robbing anyone. I just want you both to get out of here.
back and I'll get you both!
Oh my God, I think I'm gonna be sick. I'm gonna pass out.
Oh, here, easy now.
Oh,
Are you okay?
I'm gonna be sick.
Here, easy, sit down. You'll be all right. Be careful with that gun, it could go off.
Oh, it's not loaded. It's a souvenir my husband got in the war. Ah!
Jeez, lady, I thought you said it.
Oh my God, I could have killed someone. I shot a hole in my purse.
Now it's empty.
I only brought it with me to scare anyone who tried to bother me. I thought it was empty. I checked it.
Well, it's hard to see that round in the chamber. Didn't your husband check it?
My husband's dead. He was a Marine killed in Okinawa. He sent back a locker filled with his belongings, and the gun was in there. I didn't know it was loaded.
Well, I'm very sorry. About your husband, I mean.
Yeah. Oh my.
Are you okay now?
I'm shaking like a leaf. The guy was gonna rob and kill me. Maybe worse. He could have killed you too. That was some stunt you pulled. You don't have a gun, do you?
No, I have no gun. That was my hairbrush. Well, it was the best I could come up with when I saw him come after you.
I don't know what to say. You saved me from getting robbed, maybe killed.
Well, if you can spare me another cigarette, we can call it even. That first one you gave me got broken in the melee.
Here, you can have the whole pack here, matches too.
Oh, no, just one will do, thank you. Listen, I know it's none of my business, but can I ask why you're down here at this time of night? Alone? Are you crazy?
No, I'm not crazy. Are you? Well, you're down here.
Well, I live down here.
Oh, I see. Well, you have an apartment somewhere around here.
Well, I didn't say anything about an apartment. I just said I live here.
What do you mean, here? Where here? What building?
No building, just here.
Here?
Here.
You mean you live outdoors?
Lady, I am a bum.
Strange. You don't talk like a bum. Well, I don't think you're a real bum.
Tell me then, if you'd be so kind, exactly how does a real bum talk?
Slurry.
Slurry. So you're saying if I just slurry my words a bit, I could pass for a true life, genuine, well-read bum?
No, not really.
Why not?
Because you'd also need to reek of alcohol.
What a pity.
Me?
Well, I don't drink.
Aha! You see, you're not a real bum. You're faking it. What are you, undercover or something?
Oh, I say, if one cannot succeed at being a bum in Chatham Square, one might wonder, what could one possibly succeed at? It's no wonder I'm down here.
Look, sir, my father always said, if it walks like a duck, you know. But the problem is, you're not quacking like one.
Well, that's a relief.
Okay, where the hell is my bus?
Look, ma'am, the point is, I'm familiar enough with this neck of the woods to know that you shouldn't be down here by yourself.
Well, I appreciate your concern, but it happens that I just started a new job, and well, this is how I have to get home.
Well, can't you get an earlier shift then? What are you, a nurse?
No, I'm a waitress at a very nice restaurant uptown, thank you.
How many times, may I ask, have you taken this route home at 1 in the morning?
Well, not that it's any of your business, but I just started the job today. This is my first time.
Oh dear, and it was almost your last.
Well, I know, and I already thanked you.
Ma'am, the point. With all due respect, you just can't do this. It's too dangerous.
Well, I don't have a choice. I need the money.
Well, no job is worth getting killed.
It is if you have a 4-year-old son.
Dear, I'm sorry. I didn't understand. See, listen, if you don't mind my asking, how many nights a week do you have to be working these hours?
Every day but Monday.
Somebody should be here to meet you then.
There is no somebody who can meet me. World War II took care of that. Oh, here comes my bus. Oh, thank God. Listen, Mr. What's your name?
Willie.
Mr. Willie. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh.
Hey, lady, did I just see you hug that bum?
Oh, he's not a bum. He's not a real one, anyway. I just drive the bus. What took you so long?
So, that's how Willie and Miss Kitty met.
That's right. She rode that warm bus all the way home, thanking her lucky stars that she'd escaped a dangerous situation. And she wondered how a man like Willie, as well-spoken as he was, could ever end up living on the street. She just didn't understand that there's all kinds of ways of messing up your life so bad you just don't care if you live or die. When she got home, she picked up her son over at the neighbor ladies, and she gave that kid the biggest damn hug. Then she said a prayer. He don't end up someday like Willie, alone, living on the streets, freezing cold, a homeless derelict, nobody.
So then what happened?
Well, the next day, she was at work up there at Delbert's Spin and Claw restaurant up on 86th Avenue up there. And she told her best friend Blanche, now she's the one who got her the job, about what happened.
You hugged a boy now? Well, he only saved me from getting physically killed, not to mention raped and robbed. It was an impulse hug. How much did you tip him? Tip him? I didn't give him any money, just a couple cigarettes.
Oh, sweet Jesus in heaven, I don't believe you, Kitty. The man only risked his neck to save your sorry ass, and you didn't even have the common decency to tip him? You are from Philadelphia, aren't you?
I'm from Allentown, and I didn't realize that homicide prevention was a tipping situation.
Honey, everything in New York's a tipping situation. How embarrassing.
Well, look, Blanche, what am I going to do? I'm not going to survive a week transferring buses near the Bowery at that time of night.
Well, can't you just swallow your frugality and take a cab?
Right. You can wait an hour for a cab that time of night. And even if you get one and he finds out you're going to the Lower East Side, you don't want to drive down there. Too dangerous.
Plus, you'd have to tip him.
Don't push me, Blanche. This is serious. I'm afraid to go home tonight.
Well, look, maybe it was just bad luck last night. This is Wednesday. More people on the streets tonight. Not so desolate.
Well, that's what I'm afraid of. More of those people. Oh, hey, you got customers. I'll talk to you later. Is that you? What are you doing here?
Well, I live here.
So you've told me. How long have you been waiting here?
Well, it's only called waiting if you have some other place to be.
I see. Well, I guess that makes sense. I suppose you want another cigarette, Mr. Willie.
Oh, it's just Willie. No, mister.
Oh, Willie's your first name. Sorry.
And in all the commotion last night, I didn't get your name.
Well, everyone calls me Kitty.
Well, Kitty, I have a proposition for you.
Huh. What do you mean, proposition?
Oh, nothing insalubrious, I assure you.
In some what?
Well, bad or unhealthy.
Okay. Speak.
Please. Since you are determined to risk life and limb for this good job of yours by waiting for buses in the middle of what is undoubtedly the worst neighborhood in New York without any protection whatsoever, if we do not include your now fully unloaded World War II pistol with which you almost shot off your right foot last night, and since you have a young child at home who I assume is fully dependent on you actually arriving there without any gaping wounds or other severe injuries, and your bullet-ridden purse and its contents more or less intact, why, I hereby offer you the following proposal. I will be your bus stop sentry, your late-night guard, your bodyguard, so to speak, with a total guarantee that you will remain unharmed by anyone, in spite of your own fanatical insistence on taking this ridiculously dangerous path home. In return, you, Kitty, shall pay me, Willie, the sum of 2 cigarettes and $1 for coffee per day, every day but Monday. Now, this contract can be canceled by either party or by mutual agreement at any time. However, I assure you I will be here at 1 a.m. every evening until you smarten up and get a different job. Do we have an agreement? What say you? Can I take that to be a yes?
Are you a lawyer or something?
Well, last night I was a duck, and now I'm a lawyer.
Was that an insalubrious thing for me to call
Why,
you?
yes, quite. Well, do we have a deal?
Not until you allow me to counteroffer.
Well, my term's too rigid. 1 cigarette will do. Oh,
Here are my terms. Since you insist on hanging out in what is undoubtedly the worst neighborhood in the city, at 1 a.m. in the freezing cold, risking all the same dangers that I now face nightly, I, Kitty, hereby offer to pay you, Willie, the sum of $3 per evening, plus 1 whole pack of cigarettes of your choice. These terms are non-negotiable and are on a take-it-or-leave-it basis. What say you?
well, who taught you how to negotiate? I would do it for nothing. I'm doing this so I can sleep soundly at night knowing I'm not complicit in your attempted suicide.
You don't sleep soundly at night. You're here at night. My terms only. Do you accept?
Well, yes, of course. That's more than generous.
Then you, sir, have yourself a deal.
And you, my dear lady, will arrive home safely tonight. And every night.
So, then what happened?
Well, true to his word, he was here every blessed night, no matter the weather or anything. He took his job very seriously because he realized that Kitty was right. She wouldn't have lasted a week around here. So trust me when I tell you that every night when that bus pulled up here at Chatham Square, she was on it, saying a prayer that he'd be here. Every night, sure enough, here'd be old Willie, waiting for her when she got off that bus.
Let me get this straight. You hired the wino?
Will you quit calling Willie a wino? He doesn't even drink.
Oh, it's Willie now. First name basis, huh? And is that what he told you? He doesn't drink?
You know, Blanche, you are so full of it. At first you criticized me for not tipping him, and now you're making fun of me for paying him to keep me from getting my damn throat cut.
Well, from what you told me, I'd be careful of this guy. He sounds like a con man to me.
Oh yeah, Blanche. He's been waiting on that freezing street corner for months. Just waiting for me to get hired at Delbert so he could take me for all I'm worth. How cleverly diabolical of him. You know what your problem is? You're incapable of trust.
Oh, yeah? Well, let me tell you something, Miss Little Red Riding Hood. Every man I ever trusted in my life wound up taking me for everything he could get. And if you think this Willie the Wino's living on Skid Row because he's a model citizen, well then, honey, you're setting yourself up like pins in a bowling alley.
Are you about through?
No. And another thing. This has been going on, what, a week now? And every day you come in here with that unnatural smile on your face, telling me things about how this hobo's been keeping you entertained with jokes and stories while you wait for the bus. He ain't just protecting you. You two are fraternizing.
Oh, that is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard, Blanche. He's just a very nice man who happens to be down on his luck is all.
Yeah, way down, honey. He's down lower than a water on a frog's ass. He ain't even at the bottom of the barrel. He's underneath the barrel begging to get in. He's a street poison kitty, a Bowery bum.
Yeah, I know. I'm being careful. He's been a perfect gentleman.
Well, you just be careful this perfect gentleman doesn't play you for the perfect idiot.
Oh, hey, Blanche. Why did Mr. Randolph call you into his office? Was he yelling at you? What'd you do?
You know that rich guy that always asks for my table and then don't tip me?
Mr. Dawson or something?
Yeah, that's him. Well, the other night he asked me why I had my thumb on the steak when I set his plate down on the table. So I told him it was because I didn't want the steak to slip off on the floor again.
Oh, no.
I was joking, you know how I am. But he got all mad and complained to Randolph. Luckily, the union representative just happened to be here and he calmed everyone down. The good news is, he won't be asking for my table again. Now you'll probably get stuck with him.
You better not get yourself fired, Blanche.
Oh yeah, I might wind up on the Bowery.
Oh, give your breath, will you?
Oh, speaking of Randolph, don't forget he wants you in his office after your break.
If I didn't forget, I'm nervous about it. Why does he want to see me?
This is his little welcoming ceremony for all new employees. He wants to remind you that this is his restaurant and he owns it and you're nothing but a lowly waitress who should just shut up and be grateful. Within 5 minutes, you're going to want to stab him in the chest with a shish kebab and jump up and down on his dead corpse. Other than that, it will be a lovely experience.
Oh, my Lord.
Oh, don't be nervous, honey. Just bite your tongue and let him run his little game. We've all been through it. You'll be all right.
So we'll see you at Sardi's at 9 then, okay, Emerson? And I'm looking forward to the show. My best to Elaine. See you then. Bye-bye. Come in.
You wanted to see me, Mr. Randolph?
Yes, Miss Fleming, is it? Please have a seat.
Thank you.
And so, I see you've been with us for about a week now here at Delbert's. And so, how are you enjoying your experience?
Oh, I'm very happy to be here, Mr. Randolph. And I certainly appreciate the opportunity to be on the staff of such a,
Nice restaurant.
yes.
I see our shop steward, Blanche Winterchap, recommended you.
Yes. Blanche and I worked together years ago at the tea room. You know, atop the Empire State Building, before the war.
I see, and why would you leave such a good position as one atop the Empire State Building?
Oh, well, I got married, and my husband enlisted in the Marines when the war started, and, well, I wanted to be near where he was stationed in Maryland.
I see, and now you're back waiting tables.
Well, I have a 4-year-old son to support, Mr. Randolph.
Is your husband still in the Marines?
He was killed in the Pacific, April 1945.
Terribly sorry.
So I guess the answer is yes. He's still a Marine.
Of course. I see that you've been working downtown at the Broadway Grill. That's a Greek establishment, I believe.
Yes, for almost 2 years.
That's a diner, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it is.
Burgers and things.
Well, it's a very big menu, actually, and really good food, and not just burgers, but other things.
French fries, pastrami and the like, egg sandwich on a Kaiser roll to go.
Well, it is a diner, sir,
Interesting. And now you're serving real food, Miss Fleming.
Well, fancier.
Yes, quite. And I assume you know the difference.
Yes, certainly.
I also assume you're making a good deal more income here at Delbert's.
I am.
Which is why we expect more, Miss Fleming. A lot more.
Understood.
Is it?
Yes.
We do not tolerate lateness or absenteeism for any reason.
Oh, I don't miss work, Mr. Randolph.
No, of course you don't. No one does. We do. You are also expected to come in an hour early every other shift to polish silverware and help set up the restaurant. This is on your own time, in spite of what the new union contends. I do not pay for you to do this. It is strictly voluntary. Can I count on you to volunteer, Miss Fleming?
Oh, yes. If the other girls do it, I'll do my share.
Good. It is worth your while to do so. Just think of Delbert's as the goose that lays the golden egg, and all of us, myself included, make our living from that goose. Understood?
Yes?
Miss Fleming, I will be watching you, for I sincerely doubt that you are truly qualified to uphold the tradition of elegant service we have here at Delbert's. In my opinion, no waitress really is. We had no choice but to switch from waiters to women after Pearl Harbor was bombed, and now, thanks to unionization, we do appear to be stuck with you. Before the war, our waiters were among the finest in New York, all gifted in French service, with knowledge of superior cuisine and finer wines. They could debone a sauteed Dover sole at your table and toss you a salade Victoria with lobster, asparagus tips, perhaps some diced truffle if you desired, followed by an at-your-table strawberries with curacao and a lovely chantilly cream sauce. Are you capable of such artistry, Miss Fleming?
Oh, those items are not on our menu, Mr. Randolph.
Unfortunately, that is true. We lost our waiters. We lost our ability to serve such magnificent cuisine. Delbert's is now Delbert's Fin and Claw restaurant, a glorified seafood steak and chop house, albeit a very busy and successful one this morning.
Mr. Randolph, I am a very good waitress, and I have been working very hard to learn your menu and your kitchen procedures. I will not disappoint you.
That is much easier promised than achieved, I assure you. Just understand that even with your new union protections, you are on a 3-month probation here at Delbert's, and within that time, I can dismiss you without word or notice. Is that clear?
Yes, it is.
That's all I have to say for now. You may go back to your station.
You thought Heinrich Himmler was dead.
What the heck is his problem? You weren't kidding, were you? Well, I'm shaking like a leaf.
Well, he doesn't think much of women, does he? Oh, when you meet his wife, you'll know why. She's worse than he is. Make sure you steer clear of that troll.
But I don't think this is going to work. I think he hates me.
Oh, he hates anyone who doesn't have a terrace overlooking Central Park. I told you. Don't let him get to you. He's just trying to intimidate you.
You think so? Well, he did a damn fine job of it. Well, I almost threw up on his steps. I'm serious.
Oh, what I wouldn't have paid to see that. Can you imagine? Hey, Randolph, here's what I think of your food.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Randolph. I guess the strawberries Romanov with the chantilly cream sauce just didn't agree with me.
What? want?
Never mind, it's a long story.
Well, my shift is over. I'm out of here. You'll get home safely tonight. Oh, and give my love to Willie Boy.
I said give it a rest, Blanche.
Yeah, that Randolph was a real jerk. A real uptown New York snob. Parlayed wifey's money into a gold mine called Delbert's. But everyone who worked there made real good money. Especially Kitty. She wasn't lying. She was a damn good waitress. People liked her. Every night she'd come home with this big load of tips. And our Willie made sure she kept every dime of it, except $3 a night for his salary and some cigarettes.
You know, from the way I saw it, this Kitty couldn't accept that Willie was on the Bowery. She thought that because he spoke well and didn't drink, he was salvageable.
Yeah, like I said, there's a whole lot of poor souls that ended up down here what never drank a lick in their lives. Mental illness, depression, broken hearts, hell. You know how many stockbrokers came running down here after the crash of 29? Dozens. Business failure. Well, that's the best damn recruiting device the Bowery ever had. Except maybe for alcohol. What was the name of that banking tycoon? You remember his name? What was it? Samuel T. Wilson. You remember him? He went on a bender and died when a street sweeping truck ran his ass over when he was passed out on the curb over there.
What about that scientist guy, Oscar Darnley? The guy who invented the gyroscope? Oh, starved to death here in 44. Came down here to get away from his problems and just forgot to eat. Proving, like I always said, there's a fine line between a genius and a jerk. And he was worth millions.
And what about that Broadway producer? What was his name? Wilbur Harrison. Hell, he was the biggest thing since George M. Cohan. All the hit shows on Broadway were his. What happens? He falls in love with a chorus line girl in one of his shows, and she winds up breaking his heart. He was last seen climbing the Brooklyn Bridge, and he was a teetotaler, so you never can tell.
One thing's for certain, though. Once the Bowery's got you in her grip, you ain't getting out. What's the sign above the entrance to hell? Abandon hope, all ye who enters here. That should be the sign above Chatham Square in neon.
Surely are a man of your word, aren't you?
Well, I told you I'd be here every night.
Well, look, I have a bonus for you tonight.
Kitty, what's this?
Well, it's a doggy bag. It's got some prime rib in there, and some shrimp cocktails. Oh, and half a lobster tail, and a couple of nice buttered rolls.
Oh, I can't take this from you.
Why not? Of course you can.
Kitty, this is good food. I can't take it.
It's leftovers. People order stuff all the time and only eat half of it. Or send it back to the kitchen because it's too rare or something, especially that uptown crowd. Tonight was a good haul. Here, eat up.
Well, you could be taking this food home.
No, trust me. When you work at a restaurant and you're around the same food 9 hours a day, you get a little tired of it.
What about your son?
You must be joking. A 4-year-old eating lobster tail? I don't think so. Go ahead, eat. When was the last time you ate?
A bit hungry.
So eat.
When your bus comes, I will.
Willie, do you mind if I ask you something personal? Why are you down here? You don't belong here. It's ridiculous. You're in the prime of your life. What's the deal with you? Do you have family? Willie, hello?
Oh, family, no, none to speak of.
You ever been married?
No.
You ever, love anyone?
I thought I did once.
What happened?
The usual.
What does that mean?
What's that saying? Love is the exploding cigar we all willingly smoke.
Who wrote that line? W.C. Fields?
No.
Inspiring.
Well, you asked me and I told you.
Look, Willie, you're a nice guy. And you're smart. Why are you doing this to yourself? Are you hiding from something? Are you wanted by the law?
No, I'm not wanted by anyone.
Did something happen to you that caused you not to want to be somebody?
Oh, I was somebody. It just didn't work out.
But you could be somebody again.
Well, my dear, if everybody was somebody, we'd be back to nobody being somebody.
Oh, brother. Can I have that laminated for my wallet?
Well, someone has to man the lifeboats, if you know what I mean. Not everyone can handle success.
But you have to have success before you know whether you can handle it or not. Were you ever successful?
Well, success is simply a matter of luck. Why, just ask any failure.
Please, stop talking in riddles and answer me, Willie.
Yes, I was somebody, but it was all an illusion, and it went away, and I came down here.
How long, may I ask, have you been down here?
I don't know, about 2 years.
Oh, good Lord. How did you survive 2 winters on the streets?
Well, as I said, success is a matter of luck.
Look, Willie, I may be out of line here, but I know when someone's punishing himself, and that's what you're doing down here on the Bowery. You've taken yourself to the emotional woodshed over something that went wrong with your life. But okay, it happens to all of us. But do you think I planned on being a widow with a 4-year-old? When I got that telegram from the Navy saying Frank was dead on some crappy atoll or whatever that place is, because he stepped on a landmine and his body was so blown apart his remains couldn't fill a cigar box. I wanted to literally die on the spot, just collapse and die, but I couldn't, because I had a child who had just lost his father, and I'd be damned if he was going to lose his mother too. Well, Willie, can you honestly tell me that what happened to you was a whole lot worse than that?
No, of course not. I never thought to compare it to something like that. It's just that...
Willie, why do you keep looking over there?
Well, see those 2 guys over there? They've been checking you out since you got off the bus. They're bad news. Someone was robbed and stabbed down here last night. The police were all over the place till about midnight.
Where? I don't see anyone.
In that alley across the street.
I don't see. Oh, dear.
Oh, this isn't good. That one guy's got a knife.
Oh, dear.
Well, just stay calm and don't look scared.
Shit! They're coming over here!
Just easy, Kitty. They're coming. Just stay behind me.
Officer, over here! It's them! Get them!
Where?
Officer, get them!
Those guys are running. Where are the cops?
Oh, no cops. I lied.
You what?
It was all I could think of to do.
Are you kidding me? Well, that was better than my airbrush trick. Oh, hey, and speaking of lifeboats, there's your bus.
Thank goodness. But are you going to be all right? Well, I can't leave you here. Those guys may come back.
Oh, you just get going. My doggy bag and I will disappear in the opposite direction.
Thank you, Willie. Be careful. And think about what I said.
Hey, ladies, you hungry that ball again?
Oh, mind your own business. Drive the bus, will ya? You know, I wasn't being negative.
sorry about Kitty. Every other night, she and this bum fending off muggers and rapers. I was the one who got her hired at Tubbott's, and from day one she starts hanging around Chatham Square in the middle of the night with not just one bum. No, soon there was a group of them.
What do you mean, a group?
So help me God, Paul, a whole group of winos. If I'm lying, I'm dying. After that one incident, this guy really figured they needed reinforcements. And that's when she really started with the doggy bags. And then the clothes.
Clothes? She was bringing them clothes?
Yeah, lots of clothes. But what worried me most was, boy, this is even hard to say. I think she started to actually like Willie. I mean like. Boy, Meg, a bum. Oops, I gotta go. We'll continue this later. You won't believe what happened.
Good evening, Kitty. How was work tonight?
Pretty good, Willie. The big tippers were out tonight. Well, who's this with you? One of your friends?
Oh, well, Kitty, I hope you don't mind if we have a little extra company tonight. This here's my good friend Bronson Davis, but we all call him Sergeant York. He was a war hero at the Battle of the Bulge, and he's got the medals and the shrapnel to prove it.
How do you do, Mr. Davis? Any friend of Willie's is a friend of mine.
I'm glad to make your acquaintance, ma'am. I've heard a lot about you.
I told Davis here if he'd help me to protect you tonight, I'd give him half my cigarettes and buy him breakfast in the morning. He hasn't eaten in a few days, and I'm a little worried about him. I hope you don't mind.
Well, we can always use the extra protection. And besides, it being a Friday night and full moon, there's no telling what sort of crazies are out tonight.
Well, don't you worry, ma'am. There ain't none crazier than me.
That's the truth. Why, don't you worry, there's none of the bad guys around here will mess with Sergeant York. Why, he killed over 20 Nazis in the war.
20 Nazis? Well, I guess a few random muggers won't be much of a problem then. Well, say, who's hungry? Oh, well, look what I've got. Doggy bags. Let's see, this one has some filet mignon, and this one has lobster tail, and let's see, I think this one is, oh yeah, a prime rib and baked potato.
Kitty, that's a lot of food.
Well, I got the other waitresses to save me their leftovers too.
Are you kidding? I've never had no lobster before.
Eat up. Oh, filet mignon. Well, say, where's my salad niçoise? I've never had filet mignon without my salad niçoise.
I'll check with the chef.
Kitty had a heart of gold. When she saw how those bums' faces lit up at the smallest things, she couldn't help herself. Did I tell you about the clothes? Some of those guys were so raggedy she started bringing them her husband's clothes. Flannel shirts, pants, shoes, hats, all of it. And what the heck? At first it wasn't easy for her to part with those things that had been hanging in her closet since they got married. But then, I think it was her way of trying to let go of the past, you know? Sad that some of those guys were shell-shocked vets of the war anyway. And Frank would have approved.
Are you telling me that Kitty was feeding and clothing a bunch of hobos at Chatham Square in the middle of the night?
Don't forget the cigarettes. Cartons of them. Some nights she had like 8 guys waiting for her. Willie always made sure that he ate. And with this horde of bums around her, she was mug-proof.
Was that allowed? Taking food from the restaurant.
No, it was kind of a gray area. Technically, nothing's supposed to be taken from a restaurant by employees. But leftovers? Doggy bags? Those things were up for grabs by the waiters and busboys and dishwashers. Otherwise, they went in the big dumpster outside.
How long did you say this was going on?
Let's see, about a year.
Holy Toledos, you don't say.
Yeah, well then listen to this. One night, before the weather changed, it went down to about 0. Coldest damn night of the year. And Kitty was looking out the bus window to see if even women would be there it was so cold. And there they were, 4 of them. each guy bundled in Fleming's old coats and stuff, and they were gathered around a big drum that was near the bench, and they had a fire in it to try and stay warm.
Well, Willie, this is the one time I wish you weren't here. And none of you, haven't you heard there's a blizzard coming? You're all going to freeze out here.
Out here is a whole big house, Miss Kitty.
More friends I see? Hello there, Sergeant York. I mean, Mr. Davis.
Hello there, Miss Kitty. Sure are a lovely sight in this freezing cold night. And bless your heart for all these warm clothes.
I'm glad someone can use them.
Well, Kitty, this here's the guy we call Jolson, because he was a comedian in vaudeville for years. He's been sick. I hope you don't mind. And this here is Chester. Well, Chester was a dancer on Broadway before the Great Depression.
Glad to meet you, Chester. And Mr. Jolson, did you say? Can I call you Al?
Sure, Al's perfect. I knew Al personally. Did it. Baby, how I love you, my dear old baby.
Kitty, let's stand by the fire.
Are you sure, Willie?
Oh, don't worry. These guys are all my friends. I gave them those photos you gave me. They look good, don't they?
They look great. You all look great.
Are you okay, Kitty? Did we do something?
No, it was just seeing all Frank's old clothes. It just made me,
Well, of course.
well, you know.
I'm sorry. I should have thought of that.
No, it's not like that. I'm glad you have them. Frank would be glad. Well, that was his favorite fishing hat when he'd go out on one of those boats from Sheepshead Bay in Brooklyn and say, "Who's hungry?" There was a private party in the Neptune room at Delbert's, and they left behind a bunch of shrimp cocktail and beef Wellington.
Oh, yeah!
Kesey, don't cry.
Jolson, well, why don't you and Chester do a little vaudeville comedy for Kitty? She's freezing out here. It'll take her mind off it. These guys can keep you laughing for hours.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
My wife got a mud back and she looked great for 2 days.
Then the mud fell off.
I went to the psychiatrist. I said, "Doctor, nobody listens to me."
Next.
Hey, buddy, can you lend me $10 till payday?
Well, when's next payday?
I don't know. You're the one with a job.
I went to the doctor and he said,
Don't worry, Jolson. You'll live to be 60.
"But doctor, I am 60.
See what I tell you.
I caught a pickpocket trying to rob me the other day. I said, "What are you doing?"
Don't worry. I'm just making change.
"Hey, Chester, how's your wife?"
She's in bed with laryngitis.
Ah, that damn Greek guy again, huh?
I've never been so cold in all my life.
You'll be all right, Miss Kitty. Just think warm thoughts.
I can't. I think my head is frozen solid.
We were sailing along on Moonlight Bay. You could hear the voices ringing. They seemed to say, "You have stolen my heart. Now don't go away." As we sang love's old sweet song on Moonlight Bay, on Moonlight Bay. Everybody sang. We were sailing along. We were sailing along on Moonlight Bay. On Moonlight Bay. You could hear the voices ringing. They seemed to say, "You have stolen my heart. You have stolen my heart. Now don't go away. Now don't go away." As we sang love. sweet song on moonlight day.
On moonlight day.
Good night, everyone.
Well, things went on like that for months. 6 nights a week she'd get off that bus and us bums would be here waiting for her. The bus drivers were happy about it because they didn't want to see that pretty gal get hurt. They knew that us bums would be here waiting to watch over her, and that was a good thing.
Yeah, it was good for Miss Kitty because she was making good money. She could afford to pay the neighbor lady for babysitting. It was good for us too, with all the stuff she bought us. The highlight of our day was when that lady stepped off the bus.
You know, the strangest part of all was Willie. His friendship with Miss Kitty and their little business deal. I think it gave him something to look forward to, some responsibility. Months went by, you could see him changing, little by little. He started cleaning himself up, spending his days at the library, things like that. I know, I was there.
My opinion, I think he was in love with Miss Kitty. But what was he going to do? He was a bum on the Bowery, for God's sake. And this ain't Hollywood. This ain't Beauty and the Beast or Lady and the Tramp. Now it was more like King Kong and Fay Ray. Except they were both about to fall off the Empire State Building.
Yeah, happy endings are few and far between on the Bowery, a place whose whole history spells tragedy and grief. And unfortunately, that's the direction this nice little story of Kitty, the kind-hearted waitress, and her bum Willie was headed. You know, Willie once said, "Experience has taught us that fate will lead us to happiness once it has exhausted all other alternatives."
Don't you just love coming in early and polishing this guy's silverware?
Don't argue with the goose that lays the golden egg, Blanche.
Goose! He's the last person I've goose. Randall. I'd rather have a large chicken bone stuck in my throat.
Getting fussy in your old age, huh?
Look who's talking. When's the last time you went on a date?
1939, with Frank.
Oh yeah? Don't you count Willie the wino?
You know, Blanche, when you latch on to something, you can be a real ball buster.
Funny, that's what my 2 husbands said.
Which is probably why they went AWOL.
They went AWOL because I told them to go AWOL.
Or maybe if you weren't so relentless.
You're right, Kitty. When I get on something, I dig in like a bulldog on a soup bone. Because if a woman don't assert herself in this day and age, she could get smushed like she was run over by the D train.
Smushed?
Yeah, smushed. You can look it up in the library the next time you're there.
I haven't been to the library since I left Pennsylvania.
Oh, really? Then how come I see you reading all these books from our New York Public Library?
Someone gets them for me.
Someone, huh? Let me take a wild guess here. Willie the wino?
Would you quit calling him that?
Oh my God, he's getting library books for you.
Yes, I read them on the bus. So what's wrong with that?
Let me guess. A little prose, a little poetry perhaps?
Some, yes.
Good God almighty, girl, this bum is roping you in like a Texas longhorn, honey.
Look, Blanche, I don't know why this guy's living on the streets. He won't tell me. But everything I do know about him tells me he's a decent man who's just lost his way. Well, what kind of person would I be if I didn't at least try to help him?
There are two kinds of people in New York, Kitty. Victims and perpetrators.
Well, I've known him for 8 months, and he hasn't perpetrated me yet. What a sick view you have of things, Blanche.
Oh, brother.
Oh, let it out, will you, Blanche?
Wow, sensitive, aren't we?
Well,
look, I thought I was your best friend. And since when can't best friends talk about important things? Calm down. I'm just concerned about you, Kitty.
yeah, you're right. You are my best friend. I'm sorry. I shouldn't keep things from you, Blanche. You've been great to me. I just wish you wouldn't ridicule poor Willie.
Oh, I'm a dyed-in-the-wool, hard-scrabbled New Yorker. It's hard for me to not consider people shitty motives, especially men. But I'm sorry. I will try to be more understanding. I just hope you know what you're doing.
I've never once seen you in the daytime.
Well, lucky you. Besides, we both work nights, remember?
Yeah, well, so did Dracula, except for I know more about where he went in the daylight than I do you.
Dracula? You wish to have company while you wait for the bus?
No. Willie, it's almost October. It's going to get cold again.
Yeah, that's the way it usually works.
So what are you going to do? You've been promising me an answer. You can't stay out here another winter. You told me yourself how many of these guys get sick and die in the cold, or get tuberculosis. So you've been lucky so far.
Well, that's me, Lucky Willie.
I'm serious, Willie. You're pressing your luck, and there's no reason why you should accept living this way. No reason at all.
But there are reasons.
Really? Well, what are they? Because I've asked you this a dozen times, and you only just evade the answer. Oh, when it comes to personal stuff, our conversations are always just one-sided affairs, me blabbering on about my life and my hopes. But you never tell me what you're thinking.
Well, I thought you liked that I was a good listener.
Well, I love that you're a good listener. But so am I. You can talk to me, Willie.
It's difficult to explain. I'm afraid you might take it wrong.
Well, maybe I might surprise you. Talk to me, Willie.
Well, I have a disorder.
What kind of disorder?
Well, they're calling it an illness these days, really.
An illness? What kind?
Depression.
Depression? You mean like you're depressed?
Quite often, yes.
Oh, but everybody gets depressed.
You know, what I have isn't some mood or sadness I can snap out of or shake off. It makes me feel like life sometimes just isn't worth living. I live with it a lot of the time. Except when...
When what?
Oh, well, there's your bus.
But you were going to say
Just go. Yeah.
Are you okay? Oh, you look pale. You're soaking.
Oh, just a little under the weather is all. It's cold. I'll be all right. Nice to see you today, Kitty. I missed you on your day off. Did you take Frank Jr. to the movie like you said?
Yes. We saw Fantasia. Frank loved it. Well, you don't sound too good. Well, you don't look good either. Well, here, I brought some dinner for you. It's filet mignon and salad niçoise, your favorite. I had the salad chef make it for you. Special.
Thank you, Kitty.
Oh, Willie, you have to get indoors. Why, I think you have a fever. You do. You're burning up. Can you stay at the mission shelter tonight?
Yes, I'll go there. I promise.
You promise.
Yes, cross my heart.
Please don't mess around with this. It's miserable out here and you're all wet. Oh, come on, I'm taking you to the mission. Maybe I can call a cab from there.
I'll go there, I promise, right after your bus comes.
Willie, I would die if something happened to you.
Yes, in this neighborhood, you would.
That's not what I mean. I mean, it would kill me if...
If what?
Well, just if... I mean, you know what I mean.
Thank you, Kitty.
Willie, I've been thinking about what you told me, and I want to help. I'm worried about you.
You've got enough to worry about. Please don't worry about me.
I've been having bad dreams, and I am worried about you.
Well, I don't want you to do that.
What? Have bad dreams or worry about you?
Well, neither.
Well, then let me help you, damn it. I care about you.
Why would you want to do that? You're a beautiful woman who shouldn't even be seen with the likes of me.
You think I'm beautiful?
Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. It slipped.
Slipped?
This is a business relationship. It's not appropriate for me to tell you what I think of you.
Oh, I see. Well, I guess I'm speaking to you as your employer then.
About what?
About helping me.
A man who can't figure things out for himself isn't worth helping.
You were the one who helped me, Willie. I'm the one who should be thanking you.
So the next day, Kitty came to work, and I could tell she was tired and troubled, not her normal fun self at all. So when I asked her, she admitted she was worried about Willie and how sick he was. She said she had a dream that something had happened to him, something bad, and she couldn't get back to sleep after that.
Okay, Blanche, where are we going with this? Why are you telling me all this?
Will you have a little patience, Paul? I'm getting to it. I swear, Paul, if you look at your watch one more time, I'm going to hit you over the head with a loaf of bread.
Okay.
Okay, so later that evening, while Kitty and I were on break, Mr. Randolph came out of his office and said he wanted to see us in his office immediately. Not a good sign in the restaurant business, if you know what I mean.
Come in, ladies. Do you know why I called you in here?
You want to give us a raise?
Leave your humor at the door, Miss Wintercheck. This is a serious matter.
Well, what is it that you wanted to talk to us about, Mr. Randolph?
As you may have heard, there has been a great deal of theft which has occurred on these premises in recent weeks. Unprecedented theft. Thousands of dollars in fresh and frozen seafood, steaks, restaurant supplies, even some equipment. You may have seen the police in here investigating.
Yes, we have.
I wanted you in here, Miss Wintercheck, because you are the waitress's shop steward and therefore liaison to the Restaurant and Hotel Workers Union, are you not?
That is correct, I am.
So I wanted you in here when I confront the person who has been accused of removing some of these items from the restaurant, of stealing from Delbert's Fin and Claw restaurant.
Who is it that you're referring to?
Miss Fleming, would you like to address these charges against you?
What? What on earth are you talking about?
What charges?
Several members of the kitchen staff have indicated to me that you, Miss Fleming, have been seen leaving after hours on a number of occasions with bags of food. Do you deny this?
Of course she denies this.
Let her speak for herself.
I have never stolen anything in my life, Mr. Randolph, and I would never steal from Delbert.
Who in the kitchen is saying this?
That is irrelevant.
I'm speaking for the union. She has a right to know who's accusing her.
Our sous chef, Henri Retr, for one.
What? That's the cook who's been shaking us down for a percentage of our tips if we want our food to come out on time. I've already brought this guy up with the union.
And that is no concern of mine. Is Miss Fleming denying the charges?
Of course I am. I've never carried anything out of this restaurant except for my own personal effects and some doggy bags.
Doggy bags, Miss Fleming?
Yes, doggy bags. I swear.
Define doggy bag, if you would.
Oh, geez, Randolph, they're leftovers.
Leftovers?
Yeah, leftovers. You know, the scraps the customers leave on their plates and don't want. The stuff that goes right in the garbage. The stuff the rats would get if it went in the dumpster.
Which is where leftovers belong. And there is no provision made whatsoever which allows for the removal of foodstuff of any kind from this restaurant.
Are you kidding? Doggy bags?
And what else may have found its way into your nightly doggy bags, Miss Fleming?
Nothing but scraps, Mr. Randolph.
Not according to Chef Retard. He said you had shopping bags full of stuff.
Oh, no, those were bags filled with old clothes that I brought in with me.
And pray tell, why would you bring bags of old clothes into this restaurant? Do you take me for a complete fool?
Oh, she gives the clothes and the doggy bags to the bums on the Bowery.
Yes, of course! And even if I did believe that, which I do not, I am not running a soup kitchen here.
But Mr. Randolph...
And so you admit to removing items from these premises that you were not authorized to take.
Well, wait a minute, Randolph. What are you trying to pull here? The police said we're missing whole crates of lobster and seafood, not doggy bags.
I am determined to put an end to pilfering of all kinds, large and small, Miss Wintercheck. This restaurant is dying the death of 1,000 cuts, and thus far, Miss Fleming is the only person who has been caught in the act and has in fact admitted...
She didn't admit to stealing!
Miss Wintercheck, you will step back and shut up!
I will not allow you to railroad one of my waitresses, Randolph.
Miss Fleming, you are fired!
What? And I'm not talking about some shitty little leftovers and doggy bags. Randolph was saying all kinds of stuff was missing. Lots of stuff. Of course, Kitty had nothing to do with it. We all knew who the real culprit was. That sous chef Retard was the cook, and he used Kitty as a scapegoat by blaming her because everyone knew that Kitty left every night with a bag full of leftovers. So when she admitted to this, Randolph fired her on the spot. Can you believe that? And since it involved theft, there was nothing the union could do. Kitty was devastated. We all were.
Are you joking? They fired her?
That's what I'm trying to tell you, Paul. But wait. It gets worse. Wait till you hear what happened to her, Ben.
Can you believe that? That damn chef was in cahoots with some local thieves, mafia types. And they've been stealing stuff for months. Food would get delivered in one door and go right out the other. The bookkeeper discovered the problem, but I guess it was more convenient to blame it on some lowly waitress than on one of your chefs. Poor Kitty. It was the worst day of her life, and it was only going to get worse.
Yeah? You remember that night? The night they fired her? Remember when the bus pulled up here into Chatham Square? There's only the three of us here to meet her. She'd been crying the whole bus ride downtown. The only person she wanted to talk to in the whole world at that moment was Willie. But there was only the three of us here to meet her.
Where's Willie?
He's gone, Miss Kitty.
Gone. What do you mean gone?
They took him away this morning, Kitty.
Who took him away? What the hell are you talking about?
Well, we heard he tried to get into the mission last night, Kitty. But it was late, and raining, and so full that they turned him away. And it got cold. Real cold. Below freezing, I heard. And they found him this morning on a doorway on Allen Street. I saw the ambulance take him away.
But he was alive, though, wasn't he?
He had a sheet over him, Kitty.
How far over him?
All the way.
No! No! Oh, Willie! Oh, Willie!
It was so sad. For the next week, poor Kitty went to every hospital in the city, every morgue too, but she couldn't find any Willie. She didn't even know his last name. She knew all about Potter's Field too, and it killed her to think that Willie ended up in some anonymous mass grave buried by felons. It all fell apart so fast. She lost Willie and her job in the same damn night.
Oh, geez, that bum you were telling me about, he died?
Yeah, can you believe that? Her protector. God, I felt so bad about all the crappy things I'd said about him. But then I thought, God damn it, I can't do anything about Willie, he's dead. But I sure could do something about her job and her reputation. So I came up with a plan. And that's where you come in, Paul.
Me?
You're a reporter for the Daily Mirror, Paul, and I want you to help me help Kitty get her job back.
Me? How can I help her?
You can write a story about it.
What, that she got fired?
Oh, not just that part, the whole thing.
What whole thing?
About this poor widow and the bum she helps.
Blanche, I'm a sports writer. I cover the Dodgers.
Weren't you telling me the other night how you were waiting for a chance to break into regular news and become more of a journalist?
Yeah, well, I don't...
And when the right story came along, you were just going to go ahead and write it and submit it to your editor.
I had a few drinks with me, Blanche.
Oh, look, Paul, this is a great story. A poor war widow with a 4-year-old who barely has a pot to piss in herself, who's helping out poor unfortunates on the Bowery with food and clothes in the middle of the freezing night. And in return, these poor souls, some of whom are messed up war vets, are protecting her while she waits for the bus so she can get home to a kid whose father was killed on Okinawa. Are you kidding me? Now that's a great story.
Could be. Not bad. Yeah, I never thought of it like that. It has some intriguing elements. It could make a good Christmas story. But I don't know, Blanche. I can't guarantee anything. My editor will laugh me out of his office. He's a real hard ass.
Oh, look, Paul. I really want you to help me with this. You owe me.
For what? Oh yeah, I forgot.
You may win a Pulitzer Prize with this story. And then you'll really owe me.
Pulitzer? You think?
You never know.
Blanche, if I write a story about a poor war widow who gets screwed over for doing something nice, they'll burn Delberts to the ground. They'll come after this place like that mob went after that Frankenstein monster. You know how New Yorkers are. Ain't you ever been to a Yankee game? They'll be throwing bricks through the window, and then you'll lose your job too when Delberts gets run out of business.
You're right. I never thought of that.
Power of the press, I mean.
Okay. I've got a better idea. Why don't you write all the good stuff about the story and just leave out the part where she gets fired?
Huh? You lost me there, Blanche. I thought the whole point of the story is to help Kitty get her job back.
But you said that if people found out she was heartlessly fired, there'd be no job for her to come back to.
Correct?
So, let's say instead that Mr. Randolph, owner of Delbert's Spin and Claw, didn't fire her at all. He sponsored her.
Oh, Plant, have you been drinking?
No, it's genius.
You want to reward Randolph for wrongfully firing Kitty? How's that going to help her get her job back?
Oh, the fool, you just write the story. Make it as heartwarming as you can. Don't say nothing about Kitty getting fired. And leave the rest to me.
Extra, read all about it. The Angel of Chatham Square.
5 days later, that story was on the front page of the New York Daily Mirror. Headline, The Angel of Chatham Square. Soon it was in all the other papers, too. Then Walter Winchell got in on it and was all over the radio. That story was the best story of the whole damn year. And it all happened right around Christmas, too, which made it an even bigger story. I mean, the response was unbelievable. People were sick and tired of hearing about war and misery and who got the atom bomb. And here comes a story about a kind-hearted war widow and the down-and-out vagrants who protect her. I'll tell you, Delbert's was mobbed. There was a line a block long to get in and a 6-month wait list for a reservation.
With all the bad news in the world, people couldn't get enough of this story. It was such a hit that Paul, the sports reporter, wasn't doing sports no more. Kitty and her son had to go into hiding at Blanche's place, and Randolph got swamped. The press was treating him like a celebrity too, because they thought he was Kitty's benefactor. When his wife found out that he fired Kitty, she went off the deep end screaming at him. Didn't take him but about 5 minutes to figure out he better get Miss Kitty her job back. Like real quick.
Ladies, please come in. Thank you for coming. Can I get you something to drink?
What did you want to see us about, Mr. Randolph?
It seems I have made a dreadful error.
Oh?
Unforgivable, really.
Get to the point, Mr. Randolph. Kitty came all the way uptown to hear what you had to say.
Yes, of course. If you had just explained to me that the food you were taking...
The leftovers?
The leftovers, yes. If you had just explained to me that it was being distributed to the needy, I would have understood completely. And just as the newspapers are saying, I would have gladly sponsored your worthy philanthropic efforts.
Well, you were told, Mr. Randolph, and your response was, you weren't running a soup kitchen.
Yes, well, it must have got lost in the heat of the discussion, and for that you have my sincerest apology. I was wrong.
Could you say that a little louder and quite hear it?
I said I apologize.
And,
Miss Fleming, I would like to offer you your job back.
And
what? I don't understand.
Well, why should I come back to work for you after the way you treated us? I mean, you called me a thief.
No, I have already apologized for my misunderstanding of the facts of the situation and my corresponding lack of good judgment. What more would you require of me?
a raise would be nice.
A raise?
Yep.
Well, very well then. I suppose a raise would make up for some of the inconvenience this has caused Miss Fleming. Agreed, I will give her a raise.
Oh, not just for Kitty. I'm looking for a raise for all the wait staff.
What? Are you insane?
I'd like you to bring the hourly up to what the other union houses are now being paid. You make enough money in this place, you tight one.
Are you out of your mind?
Oh, I'm not through. Additionally, there'll be no more free silverware polishing and restaurant setup. Those will be paid hours as well.
Miss Fleming, Miss Winterjack! I don't know what you've been drinking, but it is causing you to negotiate in an irrational manner.
Oh, this is not negotiable. You want Kitty back?
Now, I have offered Miss Fleming her job back with a raise. And if that is not good enough for you, you can both go back to waiting tables at the Broadway Grill or whatever slop house it is you came from.
Mr. Randolph, you will sit down and shut up. Do you understand me?
How dare you?
Kitty, will you ask Paul to come in here, please? Paul, will you come in here, please? Mr. Randolph, I'd like to meet Paul Hutnagel. He's the reporter for the Daily Mirror who wrote the article about Kitty.
How do you do, Mr. Randolph? Mr. Randolph, it seems I've made a huge error in my reporting of the Kitty Fleming story.
An error?
Yes, well, it seems that I erroneously reported that Delbert's Spin and Claw restaurant was donating the food that she was giving out at Chatham Square. But it has come to light that not only were you not providing the food, but you actually fired Kitty Fleming for stealing it. Your response, sir? You see, if I've made a mistake, my ethical and professional integrity requires that I print an immediate retraction, spelling out those errors, and getting this story right. So, Mr. Randolph, exactly what are the facts of this story? The people of New York want to know.
It was the greatest thing you ever saw. Randolph squirming in his chair like he had terminal hemorrhoids.
They had him but good. If it had gotten out that he'd fired Kitty, he would have been strung up from the Chrysler building, upside down and butt naked. They would have given him the Mussolini treatment, not to mention what his socialite wife would have done. But as it was, Randolph was smart enough to shut his yap and to make good on all those changes that Blanche was demanding. And then some.
Justice is a beautiful thing.
Like for instance, after that night when Willie died, Kitty just couldn't bring herself to come down to Chatham Square anymore. It was too painful for her. So that's when old Randolph really stepped up to the plate and helped her to get a nice apartment uptown, just a few blocks from Delbert's.
But Blanche made sure that Randolph kept getting surplus food delivered to the Bowery Mission. And even the Uptown Armory got some deliveries too. He got a whole bunch of other restaurants to do the same. The publicity was just too good to lose. Especially when Randolph got that award for his community service from the New York Restaurant Association. He was a changed man.
That's a good story.
Kitty was a real celebrity for months after Paul's story broke. She was a little annoyed with me at first for bringing all that attention on her. She being such a shy girl from Allentown and all. But I told her to get over it, honey, and enjoy it. And I think she did. But even with her job and her living situation all straightened out, there was a real sadness in Kitty. I know a broken heart when I see one. And Kitty had a second one in 4 years. First Frank and then Willie. I tried to get her to go out. Heck, men were asking her on dates all the time, but she turned them all down. I said, what are you, nuts? Nice guys, good-looking guys, some of them rich, but she turned them all down. I tried to get her to talk about it, but she wouldn't. And then one day, about a year later, she finally opened up about it.
I loved him, you know.
What? Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about Willie.
I think you just ran into him when you needed someone to talk to, you know what I mean?
No. I knew you thought that I liked him because he kept me entertained and filled a void or something, but that's not what it was. The truth, as unlikely as it sounds, is I actually fell in love with that guy. Well, not at first, of course. It was his choice, his life as a vagrant, but after a while, I couldn't wait to see him every night. I didn't care about what he had or what he didn't have or who he was. No one ever looked out for me the way Willie did. Not even Frank. Forgive me for saying that, but it was true. Frank could be very self-centered and even selfish at times, but Willie, he would listen to me talk, and you could tell he listened, and every word meant something. He asked me what my dreams were, and I told him. And I asked him what his dreams were. He never answered. So I just assumed he didn't have any. But I know in my heart that was wrong. That everybody has dreams. And sometimes, the sadder you are, the bigger your dreams become. You just stop talking about them because you're used to them not coming true. But even at his scuffiest worst, Willie had the warmest eyes and smile. I'll never forget him, my bum Willie. Never.
So does that mean you're ready to move on?
To what? Another heartbreak? Oh, Blanche, I'm just not lucky when it comes to these things. I tend to fall in love with men with annoying tendencies like going off to war or sleeping outdoors in the winter.
Men, what's the rush? Why don't they stick around for a while? Are we that bad? Oh, hey, you got a customer. We'll talk more later.
Sir, we have some specials tonight.
No, I know what I want. I'm ready to order.
What can I get for you then?
I'll have the filet mignon, and could I start with a salad niçoise, please?
Sir, we don't have salad. Willie?
Hello, Kitty.
Willie?
Yes, Kitty.
Willie!
Can you believe it?
How? I thought you were dead. I looked for you.
I know. We have to talk. I know this isn't the place.
But your friends, they saw you get taken away. They said you were dead.
Oh, I was dead. I was pronounced DOA when they got me to the hospital. Hypothermia, pneumonia, you name it. Why, I was nearly frozen solid when I got there.
Oh, Willie.
Well, when they didn't get a pulse, they just gave up on me, pronounced me dead, and some guy started to wheel me to the morgue in the basement. Well, that's when it happened, in the elevator.
What happened?
Well, all of a sudden, I sat straight up on that gurney and I yelled, "The bus!"
What? Oh, my God.
Well, needless to say, that poor orderly was screaming and climbing the walls of that elevator trying to get out. At least that's what I was told. I was unconscious for a week, and well, it's a miracle I survived, is what the doctor said.
I went to every hospital looking for you. I even went to the downtown morgue. I couldn't find you alive or dead. It was like you just disappeared off the face of the earth.
Well, after I came back to life in the elevator, they rushed me to the ICU, and apparently one of the doctors treating me there recognized me, because as soon as I was able to be moved, they transferred me to a new facility out in White Plains.
What do you mean recognized you? What, from the Bowery?
Kitty, there's a lot you didn't know about me.
Well, no kidding. That's because you wouldn't tell me anything. I didn't even know your last name. What is your last name?
Well, it's Harrison.
Willie Harrison?
Yes. Well, actually, it's Wilbur. Wilbur Harrison.
Wilbur Harrison? Like the Broadway producer?
The same.
The guy who disappeared?
That's me.
What do you mean that's you?
Well, that's me.
You're Wilbur Harrison?
I'm afraid I am. Or should I say I was afraid, but I'm not anymore.
That's really who you are. The Wilbur Harrison. Willie, what's going on? If you're lying to me...
Oh, Kitty, I've never lied to you.
You lied to me by pretending to be a bum on the Bowery.
I was one.
You're really the Broadway producer guy?
Guilty.
Why didn't you tell me who you were?
The whole point of my being down there was to forget who I was.
But I could have helped you.
Oh, Kitty, I wouldn't be here today without your help. You helped me get my life back. I'm a changed man, and you helped me get there. You saved my life as much as any of those doctors did.
Do you know what I've gone through this last year? Do you know how it felt? To think I let you freeze to death? Well, it was just like I told you the last time I saw you. I would die if something happened to you. Let me tell you, I did.
Kitty, I'm so sorry. I was in that hospital for months, and all I could think about was you and getting my life back together so that I might see you again someday as a real person, as somebody.
You have no idea the pain I went through over this. You talk about depression. I couldn't smile or laugh, or at times even play with my son. It was terrible. I thought you were dead and gone. Now, just when I started to get a handle on the grief and the bad dreams, here you are. Well, I'm so glad you're alive, Willie. I really am. It's just when all that happened, part of me died.
Kitty, you have to believe me when I tell you how out of my control it all was. I never would have left you unless you told me to, or it was something beyond my control.
You broke our agreement, Willie, or Wilbur, or whatever the heck your name is. You told me you'd be at that bus stop every night, no matter what. Didn't you say that? Willie, why didn't you go to the shelter that night like you swore you would?
Kitty, you have to believe me. I did go down.
Excuse me, waitress, can we get some service over here?
I'll be right with you, sir. So, now, what do you want from me?
Well, I want my job back.
What, as a Broadway producer?
No, I got that back already. I'm talking about our agreement.
To meet me at the bus stop. Well, sorry, I live up the street from here on 85th, and no more buses for me.
I know. I've been watching you walk home every evening for weeks.
What? Why didn't you talk to me?
Well, because I was afraid. I am afraid that you wouldn't be happy to see me because of all you've been through, and I had to make sure that I was somebody enough to face you.
Willie, I thought you knew me better than that. I thought after all those hours by the bus stop in the middle of the night that you trusted me.
Well, Kitty, what I want to tell you is, well, I have a proposition for you.
Oh, here we go with the propositions again.
Excuse me, are we on some kind of unscheduled break here? Kitty, your patrons are hungry and are asking for you. Why are you sitting?
Oh, Blanche, I want you to meet a friend of mine. You're not going to believe who it is.
Oh, sure, I know who you are. I saw your picture in the papers last week. You're Wilbur Harrison, the long-lost Broadway guy. Welcome back to the world. Everyone thought you was dead.
Well, I was dead, but I'm not anymore.
Oh, hey, I hear you got a new play coming soon. What's it called, Chatham Square?
Yes, it's about a lovely woman who befriends the unbefriended and becomes the Angel of Chatham Square.
Hey, wait a minute, Buster. That's Kitty's story.
No, that's our story.
Blanche, Wilbur's Willie.
What do you mean? That's his nickname or something?
Oh, Blanche, he's Willie.
Yeah, and?
Willie the wino.
Willie the wino died last year. What the heck are you talking about?
He didn't die, Blanche. This is Willie.
This is Willie. Willie the wino? Oh, Kitty, you're pulling my leg, aren't you?
Oh, God, I need a drink. Waitress!
Are there any more bums down there like you that you could introduce me to?
I can get lots of doggy bags.
What was it Willie said? fate will lead us to happiness once it has exhausted all other alternatives. Well, that's what happened to them, to Kitty and Willie. Life ran out of ways of screwing them around, and fate brought them together. A Bowery love story. Who would have believed it?
Highly implausible.
You said there are no happy endings down here.
No, I said they were few and far between, not impossible. And Willie's production of Chatham Square, why, when people realized that this was Wilbur Harrison's own true story of his journey into the belly of the beast, and how he met the Angel of Chatham Square, Kitty Fleming, and how they ultimately saved each other, fell in love. This was the smash hit of the season.
Yeah, and so was their big wedding a year later, right here on Chatham Square.
Can I say happily ever after without it sounding too corny? Would anyone believe that was possible on the Bowery?
Yeah, and look at how much things have changed out here since those days. Heck, they even kicking the bums out of the Bowery. Building condo apartments and tenements. Fancy restaurants instead of soup kitchens. Art galleries and the storefronts where we used to sleep. They calling it urban renewal. And we ain't even called bums no more. We're the homeless. So where do we go now, people like us?
Well, there's always Potter's Field. Some things never change. And one other thing that hasn't changed, there's still a whole bunch of people just living day to day. Just one paycheck away from being on the Bowery themselves. Only for the first time in 300 years, there won't be no Bowery to take them in.
So what are you telling me? The homeless are now homeless?
Can't even find Chatham Square anymore. It's been cleaned up. It's part of Chinatown now.
The Bowery without bums. What's this city coming to? I'll be a monkey's uncle. Look who's coming.
Willie, is that you?
Hey, fellas, how you been?
Willie, what'd you hear? What'd you say? I can't believe it's you. We ain't seen you since you passed away. What, about a dozen years ago, was it?
Well, yeah, I died in 1999, age 91. I hated leaving my kitty. Sure have missed her.
Well, Willie, where the heck have you been? I thought we'd run into you sooner or later.
Well, usually I'm keeping an eye on Kitty, but sometimes I head over to Broadway and take in a show or two. I like spending time in the old theaters.
So what brings you down here to the Bowery, Willie?
The same thing that brings you here, Jolson. Brought us all here. Well, Kitty passed away tonight. She died at home in her sleep.
You see, boys, I knew we were here for a reason.
Kitty and I got married in 1949, right here in Chatham Square. For over 50 years, we were the two happiest people on God's green earth. Our son Frank gave us 7 grandchildren, and our daughter Betsy gave us 4 more. When I first met Kitty on that cold January night, 1948, I was hanging on to my life and my sanity by a thread. There wasn't a night that went by that I didn't quietly wish it'd be my last. And then that bus pulled up, and off she stepped. I didn't know it. That moment, that instant, the healing inside me had begun. Well, the Angel of Chatham Square, the newspapers called her. Well, tonight, the angel is coming home.
Oh, Willie, I knew you'd be here.
Kitty.
Oh, I wasn't afraid because I knew you'd be here to meet me. All of you. Like all those years ago. Oh, I miss you all so much.
We miss you too, Miss Kitty.
Well, you were right. I made it past 100. With those last 12 years after you went away, well, I just missed you too much.
As we sang the soul sweet song, one moonlight day.
First of all, I really want to thank this wonderful theater in Willits for believing in my play and doing an absolutely fabulous job of it. I was up there crying, you know. And my mom, who did make it past 100, is looking down and enjoying every minute of it as well. And so I can't thank you all enough for not only coming to see this play, but supporting theater the way you do. And I hope you enjoyed the story as much as I did. When I first learned of it when I was 8 years old, my mother and I were walking near the Bowery, and there was a bum sitting in a doorway and slobbering on himself, and I made a disparaging remark about him to my mother, and she just stopped me in my tracks and said, don't do that. And it surprised me how defensive she got. You know, she was a hard-scrabbled New Yorker from Allentown. And she went on to tell me the story that you just saw about how she was rescued by, well, one derelict in particular, but about eight to 10 of them in general. And it was it struck me like a lightning bolt. I never, ever looked at people the same way, because here's my dear mother, who I love very much. And when somebody like that tells you that kind of a story, it's just an impression on me. And you can imagine, you tell a child something that, you know, that sticks with them. It stuck with me forever. So we never talked about it again, ever. And then 50 years later, I wrote this story, and my mother, God bless her, got to see it before she passed away. And she was mesmerized by it. She said, "How do you know this?" I said, "Mom, you told me the story." She goes, "I did?" She goes, "Yeah." She goes, "How do you know that?" "And that dirty bum fired me." And she said after watching it, my sister watched it, but my sister said, "So Mom, how did you like the story?" And she said, "I was really good, wasn't I?" You did such a wonderful job. Again, I want to thank everybody for, and I really think so much of Willits that you'll forever be the dearest place in my heart that you took on this play and that you did such a wonderful job with it. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
One of the nicest things for, I think, our community is we all have been blown away by this play because we've had a lot of stuff go through and, it's good, it's nice, but this was just kind of stellar.
Well, you're hearing it from the horse's mouth. Willits owns this play as much as, believe me, no matter where it ever goes, and it's got some other productions coming up. We're going to be doing it in March at the Wells Fargo Center for the Arts in Santa Rosa. I hope you all come down and see it. But listen, you believe me, this will always be a Willits production in my head, okay? And I can't thank you enough. Anybody else have any? Yeah.
I'm curious, Fleming to Harrison's foot, where does the last name change come in?
Well, okay, I have one confession to make. The first act is exactly the way the story was told to me. Now what happened, and when she told me the story when I was 8 years old, there was a different ending. Willie did die in that doorway, and he was frozen to death, and they took him away, and she never could find him. He did die. In writing the story, knowing that my mom might hear the story, I know that pained her so much, I couldn't bring myself to write that unhappy ending. So I changed details to bring Willie back to life, and when she saw it, that's the first thing she said. She said, "You brought Willie back." And so, I was able to use my pen to change the reality of the story. I like happy endings. Okay? And listen, when we did the play down in the Raven, when Willie died, they were booing me. And by the way, I played the role that Mike played. So I've never seen the play. I was always in it. And so tonight was the first night I was in the audience thinking, what's different? That's right, I'm watching the play for the first time. And, so I did change the ending, and, I Hollywoodized it a little bit, but everybody loves a happy ending. So, I think I did the right thing.
You did absolutely. There were so many twists and turns right there at the end. It was a fun ride. The way you tied everything back together, it was essential.
One performance, I had a lady come up to me in the lobby, and she goes, "I hated you for killing him." I wanted to grab you and kill you for that. Yeah.
Do you have 7 children?
Me? No. No, that was also an add-on about the grandchildren. Yeah.
Do you think your mom fell in love with him?
Absolutely, she did. And the thing about him was, and this is what the whole point was, that you never know what a person's all about. A homeless person, you don't know what their life was, and you don't know what their past experiences or what talents they had. And at the time, in the 1940s, this was right after the World War II and the Great Depression. There were a lot of people that were down there for reasons that had nothing to do with drugs and alcohol. They were down there because life had just run out on them. And to this day, there's a lot of people in that situation. They're among the homeless. You just don't ever know. And I learned from what my mother told me was just don't prejudge people. And look, they're human beings too. And you have to give them the respect that any human being deserves. And that was the lesson that I took away from age 8 until today. And if that passes along to anybody else, you guys remember that everybody deserves to be treated respectfully. Yeah.
I wanted to say, as president of my union local for over 20 years, that your portrayal of the union steward was much.
Hey, all of that was accurate. My mother used to have to go in and polish silverware, sometimes on her day off. And she'd have to go in hours early and set up. She'd never get paid for any of that stuff. So Yeah, the restaurant unions in New York, that local one restaurant union really was and she was Blanche was the shop steward. Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Yay for Blanche.
Smoking cigar, we all willingly. Where's the quote from?
I remember that quote was from an obscure cartoon from years ago. You know, something sticks in your mind. I remember thinking, love is the exploding cigar we all willingly smoke. Yeah. And it just stuck in my mind. And somebody else asked me that. Somebody sent me that. You did, Mike. Yeah. So I looked it up and I found out it was it's a lady cartoonist, not a real well-known one. But I did find out who she was. I don't even remember her name now.
Was it something Barry? Was her last
Yeah, Barry was her last name. And but isn't that something? How something just sticks in your mind, and you know, it's not found its way into my play.
Well, it's not going to be an obscure quote anymore.
That's great. Anyone else?
Tell them about the photo. You have a photo that we use for promo a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In when I was about 11 years old, I used to walk around the Bowery with a old one of those box cameras that you looked in the top, and I used to go around taking pictures. Yeah, not a Brownie, a better one. It was a Hasselblad. In fact, I borrowed it. Yeah, I borrowed it from the settlement house that had a photo course, and I borrowed it. I'd go out on Sunday mornings, and I was taking pictures of hobos and stuff. And so one of these pictures, that's what you're talking about? Yeah. So I came along, and there was a guy sitting in the street, and he had a bottle of whiskey. And I said to him, I walked past him, and you know, I never wanted anyone to see that I was taking a picture of him. You know, I didn't want to feel ridicule him or anything. But he saw me and goes, "Hey, son," he goes, "for a quarter, I'll guzzle this down." I said, "Really?" And I think I had. That's about what I had. And I gave him the quarter. He opened the bottle. He went glug glug glug, and I snapped a shot of this. And when he finished drinking it, he said, "Well, there goes another 50 billion brain cells down the drain." But anyway, that picture is one of the cover shots of on our play. So I have it to this day.
Whatever happened to Blanche?
Blanche and my mother were friends. We last heard from Blanche at age 95. My mother was 98, living in Florida, and Blanche was 95, still living in New York. And she went to a rest home, and we never heard from her again. But they were friends into the late 90s. Isn't that something? So, anybody else?
Did either of them play into the other?
Yes. Yes, they did. Yeah. Yeah.
And your mom is really pretty. Her eyes, and you have her eyes.
Really?
Really lovely. Yeah, I think so.
Thank you. That's great. Yeah, that picture was from the early 1940s. Yeah.
When this is done at the Wells Fargo Center,
yes.
If you want to make a hit, you bring this cast down. Dave. As long as this comes with it. I love the lights came on. They did a wonderful job. So again, I thank you all, and you know, really, bless you all.